and welcome to this week's edition of the news that comes to you with the extra touch. In tonight's package, Ishekiri people gets presidential pledge of a fair deal. Fuel supply and subsidy takes center stage as the Federal Executive Council and National Assembly show concern on the matter. Also tonight, security issues receive special attention. Agencies move to collaborate for a safer Nigeria. And on the business front, we have a special on the thriving snacks trade in the palace of a first-class emir. Plus, an expose of women in jobs of women in jobs perceived to be male-dominated. These and much more are what we have on our menu tonight. But of course, you have to sit back and watch to be informed and entertained, because the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Morbuba, and this is News Extra. I welcome you. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News, and on Twitter at NTA News Now, and on Instagram NTA Network for updates. I welcome you once again. Now, the federal government has approved the immediate deployment of new revenue assurance solutions by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. This is aimed at plugging leakages in the nation's telecommunications industry for enhanced revenue generation in the country. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, made this known at a media briefing after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. State House correspondent Adam Sambo reports on this and other resolutions adopted.
The revenue assurance solution was developed by the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) as a deliberate attempt at enhancing revenue generation in compliance with the federal government's directive.
The wisdom behind deploying this technology is just an attempt to enhance revenue generation that will go into education, health, infrastructure, and many more. And at the same time, to promote the cyber security of our country by making sure that our cyberspace, particularly as it relates to the telecommunications sector.
The new technology, the minister explained, has already been certified by NIDA and a clean bill of health obtained from the Office of the National Security Advisor. FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello also secured the approval of the council to award contract for the completion of Mpape Galui Shere Road at 5.4 billion naira.
And this road, when done, is going to allow us to move settlements within phase 2 of the city that are meant to go there. And these ones are the 7 communities of Otako, Maje, Mabushi, Jabi Samuel, Jabi Akubu, and Panda, and then Zilu. So this is also in line with the administration's policy of working on infrastructure, so that the city proper would be decongested.
For the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing, approval has been granted for the execution of 15 roads infrastructure projects and bridges across Nigeria.
One is the award of the contract for the construction of phase 2 of Ikot Epene border Aba to Owerri dualization road project. And this is at the cost of 40,157 million naira. The construction of the Offa bypass road phase 2 in Offa local government area of Kwara State. This project is for 4,335 million naira. The revised estimated cost of the rehabilitation of the Alesi Ugep road section in Cross River State.
The Federal Executive Council has therefore approved an upward review of the contract sum from 11.22 billion naira to 14.74 billion naira for completion. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The Federal Executive Council has resolved to forward a special request to the National Assembly for additional funding provisions towards meeting the requirement for incremental fuel subsidy in the 2022 Appropriations Act. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while briefing journalists after the Council's meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. State House correspondent Adam Sambo again has that.
Prior to the recent decision by the federal government to suspend the removal of fuel subsidy, a provision of 443 billion naira was made in the 2022 Appropriations Act, covering January to June this year.
Having taken into account the current realities, increased hardship in the population, heightened inflation, and also that the measures that needed to be taken to enable a smoother exit of the fuel subsidy are not yet in place, it was agreed by Council that it is desirable to exit fuel subsidy. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC, has presented to the Ministry a request for 3 trillion naira as fuel subsidy for 2022. And what this means is that we have to make an incremental provision of 2.557 trillion naira to be able to meet the subsidy requirement, which is averaging about 270 billion naira per month.
The Council therefore resolved to approach the National Assembly for, amongst others, the amendment of the Fiscal Framework, the 2022 Appropriations Act, as well as the Petroleum Industry Act.
In the case of the budget, we're looking at extending to December in the first instance, because this budget year is January to December. And also, we're going to engage NNPC to further interrogate the request that they presented, with a view of trying to see how we can scale it down so that the country is not incurring 3 trillion for subsidy. NNPC's assessment is that the country is consuming 65.7 million liters per day. Even as government is not immediately removing the fuel subsidy, we have to make sure that what the nation is incurring is efficient and that it is real cost that has been consumed by the country.
And as a follow-up to the serious concerns raised by President Muhammadu Buhari on the changes made in the 2022 budget by the National Assembly, the Federal Executive Council has approved a proposal for an amendment to the Appropriations Act.
Council approved that some of the changes that were made in the Appropriation Act, totaling 103 billion naira, should be restored.
The Council also made a request for the repeal of some provisions made that allow the EFCC and the NFIU to take 10% of all recoveries made, as well as the authorization given the nation's embassies and missions to expend funds allocated to them without any approval from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, describing them as inconsistent with financial regulations and the Public Procurement Act. In the meantime, the Council has confirmed the ratification of Customs Mutual Administrative Assistance Agreement between Nigeria and South Africa.
And the purpose for us is for the customs law in the respective territories to be properly observed, to prevent and also enhance investigation and to combat customs offenses, and to afford each country mutual assistance in cases concerning the delivery of documents regarding the application of customs laws in our two countries.
This, the minister said, will not only strengthen the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission, but also increase trade relations between the two countries, especially with the coming into effect of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Queues have returned at filling stations in Abuja. What could be the reason this time around? Ekenendulwe was in town to find out.
Since Monday evening, queues have been building up at most fuel stations in the FCT. Usually, this is caused by scarcity of the products or anticipation of increment in price. But when we spoke with the management of some of the fuel stations around town, they assured us that products are available and still selling at the normal pump price, with no increment expected in the near future. However, Motorists attribute the panic buying to expected increment in pump price of petroleum products.
Despite the fact that the government said they have lifted a possibility of removing fuel subsidy, but still people are not really confident that the government will keep their words.
Honestly, it's chaotic. The queue has come back again. Black market is all over the place. I was driving down to town, see people carrying cakes selling on the road.
Some fuel stations who remained closed to the public are believed to be hoarding the products, while some persons have taken advantage of the situation and are selling fuel in black market to motorists who cannot wait in the queue.
If all of them are selling, this queue will not be there. Yes, they lock their fleet and know that they don't have the fuel, they have the fuel.
I think some petrol stations are holding fuel.
The situation is expected to return to normal as the federal government had earlier announced the suspension of the planned removal of fuel subsidy. Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company has assured the public that the company has sufficient fuel to meet the needs of Nigerians. A statement by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs of the company, Garbadin Mohammed, advises the public not to engage in any panic buying of petrol, as well ignore all rumors that may suggest otherwise. The company also expresses its commitment to ensuring energy security in the country in accordance with the law. What many thought has been consigned to history books is increasingly becoming a common sight at intermittent intervals in parts of the country. Presence of long queues at fuel stations, which many attribute to politics of subsidy. The House of Representatives say major steps have to be taken to give direction on issues relating to fuel subsidy and state of refineries in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The issue of fuel subsidy, which has come to a head today, I think it's time for the House to give direction as to which way to go.
House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila there emphasizing the need to address the lingering issue of fuel subsidy, which is a consequence of the current state of refineries in Nigeria. The House has set up 2 ad hoc committees to conduct separate investigation in order to determine the quantity of daily consumption of fuel and how much it will cost to get the nation's refineries running at maximum capacity. The committees have 4 weeks to conclude the assignment. The House is also to investigate incidences of deaths and accidents caused due to the negligence of electricity distribution companies following a motion from Representative Sani Bala.
The report of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission alleging that approximately 2 persons died of electrocution every fortnight during the first quarter of 2019.
Other motions adopted are the need to address youth unemployment and vices through the establishment of industries as moved by Representative Emeka Martins, and the need to increase funding for innovation and technology in tertiary institutions as raised by Representative Babajimi Benson.
Urge the federal government to adequately fund institutions involved in research in the production of electric and solar cars.
House members also supported the motion from Dachung Bagos calling for investigations into unclaimed funds in commercial banks since the introduction of Bank Verification Number (BVN). The resurgence of coup in the West African sub-region attracted the condemnation of lawmakers when Representative Julius Hembury raised the matter.
We do not want this culture to continue. West Africa has suffered while lagging behind in growth and development.
The worst form of democracy is far better than a benevolent dictatorship.
While we condemn the coups that have taken places in all these West African countries, it is also time for our West African Parliament and African Parliament to live up to the expectation.
Plenary featured the second reading of 4 bills, among them a bill to establish Federal College of Nursing Mubi, sponsored by Abubakar Magaji, and the bill to establish Federal Road Safety Academy, sponsored by Mayowa Samuel.
As a degree-awarded institution to provide academic and professional training.
Chairman House Committee on Customs, Lekia Bejdi, has leaked the report of an investigation conducted on alleged murder by officials of Nigeria Customs in some communities. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
In another story, President Muhammadu Buhari has promised a fair deal to the Ishekiri people of Delta State. This was while receiving the Olu of Warri Kingdom, Ogwame Atwatse III, whom he extolled for his patriotic disposition. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The Olu of Warri was accompanied to the State House by some prominent traditional title holders from Ishekiri land. The monarch formally thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for sending a high-powered delegation to his coronation, as well as his kind felicitation, goodwill and solidarity. He described the president as a dogged patriot and fervent believer in Project Nigeria.
As a Nigerian and the leader of the Ishekiri people, it is with a great sense of responsibility that we pledge our loyalty to one united Nigeria as we support your government's aspirations to provide security and economic prosperity to all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, creed, or religion. Like every other nation on earth, Nigeria has her problems to grapple with. But our firm belief is that as a united Nigeria, we shall stand well and make Nigeria a better country than we met. In unity, equity, and justice, we shall bequeath a better Nigeria to our children.
I thank you, Your Majesty, for this visit, and very impressed by your patriotism. And I assure you that I will maintain contact.
During the visit, the Ishekiri leaders drew their attention to what they called some burning issues dear to their hearts. The issues include the underutilization of the 4 ports in Warri, Koko, Sapele, and Burutu, all in Delta State, reconstitution of the NDDC board, immortalizing the first finance minister of the country, Chief Festus Okoti Ebo, and resuscitation of the Ogidigbeng EPZ project, which has been reportedly abandoned.
I have taken note of the points you have raised in your address, and I assure you I will work on them as soon as possible.
From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And one of the outcomes of the coronavirus pandemic is the strengthening of public health system across the globe. In Nigeria, the National Health Emergency Bill is a major legislative intervention. The bill seeks to repeal the Quarantine Act of 2004 and to reenact the National Health Emergency Bill to provide for timely control of outbreak of infectious diseases. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Sunkwo has the report.
11 months after the Senate considered the National Emergency Health Bill for second reading, the proposed law has now been passed. It mainly seeks to put in place an updated and comprehensive framework for the prevention and control of the outbreak of infectious diseases. The bill is sponsored by Senator Chukwuka Otazi.
The passage of this bill will no doubt ensure timely response to the treatment and prevention of the spread of infectious diseases during the periods of public health emergencies.
Infectious diseases, it is important for us to have a proper prevention mechanism.
To make provisions for the regulating and preventing the introduction into and spread in Nigeria of dangerous infectious diseases and for other related matters. 2022, third reading taken and the bill is passed.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency Act Repeal and Reenactment Bill was also passed. The bill that seeks to repeal the Public Complaints Commission Act and to reenact the Public Interest Disclosure and Complaints Commission, and the one that seeks to make provisions for the seizure, confiscation, forfeiture and management of properties reasonably suspected to have been derived from unlawful activities, both sponsored by Senator Suleiman Abdul Kwari, passed second reading.
Is to provide for the establishment of a department in the relevant organizations to manage forfeited assets, as well as provide for an effective legal and institutional framework for the recovery and management of proceeds of crime
this bill will not stand the test of time because it will be very, very subjective.
We need to be very careful, like advise, that we don't pass a bill that will cause more problems for people. But at the same time, we have to pass this kind of bills because we need to sanitize our system.
The Federal Medical Center Onitsha Anambra State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Stella Odua, also passed second reading.
A zone such as this has not a single federal government hospital, not even half.
Will not only be of use to the indigenous people of Onitsha, but the entire people of this country. Because I know that people from all parts of Nigeria go in to Onitsha on a daily basis.
Senate has passed the 2022 budget of the Federal Inland Revenue Service of 215.8 billion naira, with emphasis on the need for the service to deploy modern technology in its operations. Senate began the consideration of a bill that seeks to make it mandatory for bank employees to declare their assets. This is one of the bills that were passed for first reading. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Nigeria is at the forefront of rewriting history of massive agricultural revolution, with rice production and marketing as attraction for local consumption and foreign patronage. Abubakar Akwanga reports that key players in the production of the staple commodity on NTA Tuesday Live say efforts to encourage participation are yielding desired results.
Nigeria's agricultural revolution is a journey of steady progress, and industry players in the rice value chain are taking optimal advantage of it to put the country's signature on the global map. Growing pyramids of the commodity across the country are testimony of a nation's determination to close the gap of importation and produce what the citizens consume.
The more you do more, the more new technology comes in, the more you have economic of scale, the more you are competitive, and the more prices will come down. So I expect in the next 1 year we'll see prices sliding as we are producing more and we are engaging more technology into the production. And today there is a lot of competition going on among the states on agriculture. Every state is gearing up, supporting its own farmers to produce more and more in agriculture, not only rice.
More than 1 million bags of paddy rice produced by farmers under the agro facility provided by the Central Bank of Nigeria is yielding these monumental gains.
When we introduced produce for repayment, all the farmer needs to do is just to remit about 40% of his output as repayment for the loan. And that was why we started the pyramid, so that farmers can actually come out with their produce, put it as central aggregation points, and once a farmer brings it, another farmer gets encouraged to bring their output. And that has been the basis, and repayment has improved significantly.
The pyramid is telling us that we have successfully overcome our rice deficiency, that we no longer depend on the Far East and other economies to feed ourselves with rice, and other crops are coming up, and we are just showing that this yes, we can.
I believe very soon, probably if we double our effort, by next year we'll start seeing a drop in price of rice and also possible export of rice to neighboring countries.
Increased employment opportunities, zero import bills, and self-sufficiency are some of the far-reaching benefits that will stand the test of time. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
The Northeast Development Commission is making efforts towards harmonizing strategic engagement with stakeholders in rebuilding the Northeast region. The Commission has now extended collaboration with federal ministries, departments, agencies, as well as security agencies to facilitate execution of a master plan from 2022 to 2030. Ilyasu Yakub reports.
The Northeast Development Master Plan was initiated to identify the needs of the region and spell out strategies, policies, immediate and long-term interventions for the recovery, stabilization, renewal and sustainable development of the region between now and 2030. This consultative meeting is aimed at harmonizing input that will upscale the success of the implementation of the master plan in the region. Governor Babagana Omara Zulum is confident that with the commitment of the federal government towards rebuilding the Northeast region, the result-oriented project is already touching lives of the people.
We make plans, we review plans, and in the end, we are all working towards the achievement of all plans in one seamless process, governed by good leadership, appropriate technology, and a commitment to finish whatever we start.
I am pleased to state that the NEDC has not been static and continues to leave its footprints across all the Northeast states.
I can see a lot of progress has been made by the implementers of this project.
The forum is highly commended for taking the bull by the horn and leading from the front.
The Ministry of Health had organized and participated in a health and nutrition emergency response project in the Northeast.
And we do hope that before the end of 2022, there is going to be an effective broadband in the entire northeastern part of the country.
We at the Ministry of Education have a surface with many of our out-of-school children in the area. And we have seen the drive to put them back in schools.
We've enjoyed intervention in working tools, which ranges from receiving of vehicles from the Commission.
Since the inception of the Commission, we have been executing modest projects that are necessary for humanitarian assistance, recovery, stabilization, and peace building in the region.
The Northeast region has suffered devastation and destruction as a result of insurgency for over a decade, and Northeast Development Commission was established to rebuild the area. In Abuja, Ilyasu Aliaku, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is determined to ensure things are done right, and he is absolutely committed to the progress of the people and the country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo stated this when he received a delegation of the Catholic Women Organization of Nigeria, led by their president, Dame Mary Asibi. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo reaffirmed the Buhari administration's resolve in ensuring things run smoothly in the country. While addressing the concerns around the challenges, Vice President Osinbajo highlighted the role of civic and social leadership also in tackling the issues. The Vice President expressed his gratitude for the visit by the Catholic women drawn from across the country and the words of encouragement from the delegation. He also commended the Catholic Church and acknowledged their role in the country. The leader of the delegation, Dame Asibi Gasum, commended the federal government, lauding the proactive and far-reaching policies and actions of the government as it affects the fight against corruption, terrorism and banditry, as well as the support to farmers, traders and the youths. At the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And the chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Governor Mai Mala Buni, says the party has not taken any decision at any fora or anything related to zoning of offices. A statement by the Director General Media Affairs to Governor Buni, Muhammad Mohammed, described the publication of a purported list on zoning as just a figment of the author's imagination that has nothing to do with the chairman and the party. The statement urged the public to disregard the purported list as it is misleading and completely false. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed says the move by African Export and Import Bank to initiate a funding mechanism for the completion of the ongoing broadcast digital switchover project in Nigeria will go a long way in upscaling the creative industry. The minister stated this at a dinner held in his honor by Afrexim Bank in Cairo, Egypt. And Anthony Ferguson has the report.
It was an informal setting with Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed accompanied by the Director General Nigerian Television Authority Malam Yakubu Ibn Mohammed, Director General Radio Nigeria Mansour Liman, and that of the NBC Balarabe Shehu Ilela. On ground to join the dinner was the Minister of Women Affairs Pauline Tallen and the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment Mariam Katagum. The Information and Culture Minister, while explaining the concept of the present administration's desire to diversify the economy, the creative industry said must be supported given its immense potentials for economic growth.
Because with the DSO, it entails creation of jobs. When you move to digital, you are expanding the frontier and you are going to have 30, 40, 50 channels. Moving into digital will create jobs and opportunities.
On audience measurement, the minister pointed at the benefits accruable to the nation.
Nigeria's advertising industry, which is today at about $309 million, way behind South Africa and Kenya, will add an additional $400 million when we actually get our system right and we're able to have an objective scientific way of knowing exactly how many eyeballs are watching a particular program.
President, Africa Export and Import Bank, Professor Benedict Orama, reassured the minister and his delegation of the bank's readiness to support Nigeria's digital switchover project.
The meeting we had was so fruitful toward the attainment of the priorities of the federal government of Nigeria towards the digital switchover.
In Cairo, Egypt, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
Thank you, Anthony. Here's a reminder that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News, and our Twitter handle at NTA News Now, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. We are right at the point where we take our first break, but when News Extra returns, not only does security hold sway, but in an amplified manner, for the hard tackle against traffickers of Indian hemp, or shall I say Igbo, to the enlightenment on the rights of victims of gunshots. Sit back for these and much more in just a moment. Great to have you back on News Extra. Now let's still talk about the queues at filling stations here in the FCT, and we have Mia Ogidi out there to give us an update. So Mia, if you can hear me well, where are you and what is happening at the filling station? And have you really spoken to any of the officials at the filling station? What is happening?
Very much, Fatima. We are here at Area 11, Garki, in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, precisely opposite the first headquarters where we have a Total filling station. And they have about...
We'll really get back to Mia because of the freezing clip there. So we'll get back to him to tell us more on the happenings there. I could see from the background that there are a lot of cars, and I know he has so much to tell us, but because of network, we'll sure get back to him when the network is right. So
why some of the pumps are not dispensing, and they told me they have exhausted the content, but they're expecting supply, and the supply is on its way. And there is a queue, actually a long one. In this kind of situation, only 2 are dispensing is quite somewhat frustrating for the motorists, the ones I spoke off camera. They appeal that even whether it is panic buying or issues of supply, they should be properly addressed. That is the situation here at the moment, Fatima.
All right, thank you so much, Mayor. Would like to hear more probably before we end this bulletin. So thank you so much. Have you ever wondered what will become of you and I, this our great country called Nigeria, without peace? Well, peace, the five-letter word many believe is the key to development. Recognizing this, a foundation known as UFOC has taken upon itself an initiative of building peace across the country, a task it has carried on its shoulders in the last 10 years through dialogue. Kalu Oka was at its 10 years anniversary held in Abuja.
The International Conference Center venue for the prestigious event, UFOC Dialogue 10th Anniversary, came alive. Nigerians from all walks of life, irrespective of status, educational qualification or religion, troop out to celebrate with UFOC, a foundation associated with building religious peace and dialogue across the country. For 10 years, the foundation has been involved in promoting dialogue, culture of peaceful coexistence and mutual understanding.
UFOC Dialogue is a non-profit organization that serves as a bridge between people of different faith and tribes in Nigeria.
With the slogan, "Reserve in your heart, a seat for everyone," every guest seated at the event noted the great impact of UFOC Dialogue in building a peaceful and united country.
We are always happy to use UFOC Dialogue Foundation to reach out for our peace-loving Christians.
I'm grateful for this UFOC Dialogue Foundation for providing an opportunity like this for every one of us to come on the same table, to rub our minds together.
It was a day to recognize some Nigerians who have made impact in bringing about peaceful coexistence in the country. Awards were presented to about 10 Nigerians who have been instrumental in holding the fabric of the Nigerian society together. Former Nigerian's head of state, Abu Salami Abubakar, former President Goodluck Jonathan, and the Vice President were recognized.
Nigerians as a people is a history of constant negotiations. We've not always gotten it right, but we've never stopped talking. We've never stopped reaching across our subtle and sometimes not so subtle divides to forge an understanding of each other and to fashion out evolving systems for our mutual existence.
Others recognized are the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Nasarawa State University Professor Saadatu Hassan Liman, for her outstanding contributions in building peace and unity.
I'm very happy about this award, and I believe that the award will spur me to work hard.
83-year-old Abdullahi Abubakar, the chief imam of Yelwa Gindi in Barkin Ladi local government of Plateau State, was recognized for saving the lives of about 262 Christians from attack in 2018.
The whole world should fear God, who is our creator. We should live in peace with one another.
Besides the yearly dialogue for promoting peace and mutual understanding, UFOC is also involved in humanitarian work in different parts of the country. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
Thank you, Ina. The Defense Headquarters is strengthening its collaboration with the media in the fight against crime and criminality in the country. Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabo emphasized this while hosting editors and media executives in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has that.
Over the years, the relationship has consistently been feisty and frosty. It is highly expected that at the end of this parley, a roadmap will be developed.
Empowered by the Constitution, the media, the fourth exit of the realm, is a critical component of the society through its watchdog role and a means of informing and educating the public. Despite the urgency attached to news-related issues, information regarding conflict and national security must be treated with caution.
We no longer see us.
To the Chief of Defense Staff, the ongoing drive to secure Nigeria and Nigerians should be a collective responsibility.
And I'm hopeful that at the end of this parley today, we no longer see ourselves as we versus them. Rather, it will be an engagement about what unites us.
The collaborative efforts by the Defense Headquarters are conceptualized to build sustainable trust and confidence of the media
as the armed forces of Nigeria conducts military operations.
The event, a non-kinetic approach to fighting insecurity, also highlighted the dangers of fake news and the need for effective utilization of the social media.
Due to the importance of national security, it's not everything that you dish out there, and it's not every information that you can get at the snap of your fingertips. So understand each other now. I believe that this interface will make us work better, and then more results will be achieved.
My takeaway from this message is to begin to de-glamorize in order to de-escalate security in Nigeria and the security challenge in Nigeria. The moment we de-glamorize it, we'll be de-escalating it, and we'll be on the path to reclaiming Nigeria for peace, progress, and development.
Awards were presented to some individuals for their commitment to duty, including 2 former NTA defense correspondents.
The award to me is a big plus to NTA, who has given me the platform to be able to exhibit professionalism.
When you are reporting defense, as much as possible, your country comes first. And if the military supports you and your nation supports you, that's all you need.
The forum is focusing on the role of editors in national security and conflict-sensitive communication. From the Defense Headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Congratulations to ours on NTA. The Nigerian Navy has intercepted and arrested a huge consignment of cannabis from drug traffickers and smugglers of contraband items within the Nigerian waterways. Lian Leneke reports that the suspects and the products will be handed over to the relevant authorities.
Surveillance of Nigeria's maritime domain is not taken lightly by the Navy, as this has led to the arrest of 20 foreigners, confiscation of 2 wooden boats laden with 268 bags of cannabis worth over 120 million naira, 3 drums of petroleum products, each containing 200 liters, and phones by the Nigerian Navy. In the same vein, 7 stowaways on board MV Chesapeake Bay at Stinken Island Jetty were also arrested. Seizures of the items were made at different locations.
21 persons have been arrested from various vessels over the last 4 months. This is also another call to all citizens to note that there are legitimate processes of leaving the country, and all must strive to follow that legitimate process.
The base operations officer explained that the trend of foreigners from neighboring countries infiltrating the nation's maritime space with contraband is worrisome.
These series of arrests made by the Nigerian Navy will continuously reinforce the Nigerian Navy's resolve to clamp down on all acts of illegalities.
The Navy says it will not leave any stone unturned at intensifying its intelligence gathering and patrols of the maritime environment, as well as its internal security operations. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Meanwhile, to tackle the menace of insecurity in Nigeria, all security agencies and stakeholders must collaborate and engage in professionalism. Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 2, Adeleke Adeyinka, who stated this, assures other agencies of support. Samuel Johnson reports that this was the highlight of the meeting with Commandant of the Armed Forces Resettlement Center in Lagos.
The arrival of the Commandant of the Nigerian Armed Forces Resettlement Center, Lagos, Air Vice Marshal Idi Lubo, on the premises of the Nigeria Police Zone 2 headquarters is significant to men and officers of the security agencies, as it indicates collective efforts to eliminate criminal elements from the polity. For the 2 officers, familiarization and collaboration with police formations would assist in internal security, while supporting the armed forces would protect territorial integrity.
On the issue of the vandalization of power holding, I'm going to pick on that particular matter and see that these people are apprehended. We are moving on and we'll keep overcoming these people that don't mean well for our country.
I am here as a friend to at least dialogue with you
over ways forward that we can ensure security around us.
They equally agreed to check vandalization of public infrastructure and criminal elements in parts of Lagos. The thrust of the matter is that Nigeria's security challenges require collectivity and collaboration from all. Samuel Johnson, NTA News.
With the megacity status of Lagos and its growing population, it has its peculiarities when it comes to insecurity. And with the emergence of another helmsman of the State Police Command, the Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, calls for adoption of smarter and more proactive policing to tackle crimes. Musa Toliet complete the report.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said one of the expectations of Lagos residents is to see the new Commissioner of Police reinforce the existing enduring security architecture in the state. He decried the recent spate of violence in some parts of the metropolis and urged CP Alabi to set machinery in motion to curb court clashes and other forms of criminality through proactive policing.
I expect your commitments, I expect your assurances, I expect the security of life and property to even get to a level that will become the envy of everybody in this nation.
There were storms and there were tempestuous periods on this journey. However, in spite of all this, God made me triumph, and that's why I'm alive here to make this speech.
Commissioner of Police Abiodun Alabi assured the governor and residents that his approach to policing will revolve around enhanced intelligence gathering and community visibility. Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba was represented by DIG Johnson Kokuma.
Commercializing police service, Hakeem Odumosu is not in any way involved in maritime police.
Please, the home now should be given what is their due: attention, attention, and attention. Today is a clarion call for everybody. If you do it well, you will get it well.
The symbolic pulling out of service to signal the retirement of Assistant Inspector General of Police Hakeem Odumosu was witnessed by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, CP Lagos State, AIG Zone 2, as well as officers and rank and file in Lagos State Police Command. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
His life was peaceful and his childhood protected until an auto crash that incapacitated him. 13-year-old Success Timothy has been a patient at the Gwagwalada Teaching Hospital for more than 8 months. After several procedures here in Nigeria, the life of this teenager hangs on the goodwill of me and you, as he requires 20 million naira for the treatment of spinal cord injury and potential lungs failure in India. Let's hear from Francis Fong.
This is Success Jacob Timothy observing a morning exercise with his father and other siblings.
11, 12.
Here is Success again in a joyous mood celebrating his mom's birthday. And this is Success Timothy after an auto crash that claimed the life of the driver of the vehicle while he sustained cervical spine injury, lungs failure, and other complications on his way back to school after Salah break along Akwanga Lafia Road in May 2021.
It was a fatal accident because even the driver died on the spot, including the vehicle that they had the head-to-head collision with.
We got involved in his management because he came in as a critical care patient. He couldn't breathe when he came in, and then he now had to be rushed straight from the casualty upstairs so that we could secure his breathing. Otherwise, he would have, I think at a point, he even stopped breathing.
Success, a student of Police Secondary School Lafia, has spent more than 3 months at the intensive care unit and about 6 months at the pediatric ward of the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital.
He was paralyzed from the neck down. He had, according to the neurosurgeon, he had cervical spine injury.
The debt they have incurred here in ICU, I know that their bill is up to 2 million in ICU, and our own here, our oxygen, is up to 1 million.
We'll be running head-to-skater, sourcing for money, borrowing here and there, even the loans from bank everywhere, just for me to say that he should survive all these things. But for a good 8 months plus now, I've not seen much improvement in him.
We don't have anything, even food, man, we don't have it.
All efforts to make him breathe through the nose proved unsuccessful, so success breathed only through a tube down his throat connected to the lungs. Presently, success cannot speak or walk, neither can he sit. He has sustained a degree of bed sores as a result of his inability to sit, stand and walk. After about 9 months at the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, his condition hasn't improved, thereby necessitating the team of doctors taking care of his situation to recommend him for further treatment in India.
Honestly, we don't know what we are going to meet when he goes outside the country where they have better diagnostic facilities. So something in the neighborhood of 20 million would just be okay.
I don't know where I will be able to raise such amount of money. Whoever that will see whatever the condition of this boy, they should please come to our rescue to save this boy's life, financially or medically.
Success and parents are appealing to good-spirited Nigerians to come to their rescue in saving his life by raising 20 million naira for his medical trip in India. Francis from NTA News.
Let's please save Timothy Jacob by donating. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page NTA Network News and our Twitter handle at NTA News Now and Instagram NTA Network for updates. You may not have been to the palace of the Emir of Kano and therefore are not likely to have an idea about the interesting trade around there that is bound to stimulate your appetite. Plus, find out how women are giving the menfolk serious run for their money in jobs hitherto considered a no-go area for the daughters of Eve. Stay with us for these and other stories when we come back from the next break we're about to take. Thanks for staying. International Monetary Fund IMF retains 2022 growth forecast for Nigeria at 2.7% as investors gain 318.19 billion naira in the equities market to close about 46,000 basis points. Details with Musa Abubakar on Business News. Musa, it's over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. The International Monetary Fund IMF has retained its 2022 growth forecast for Nigeria at 2.7% and increased 2023 projection by 0.1% to 2.7%. In its January World Economic Outlook report, the IMF downgraded its growth forecast for Sub-Saharan Africa to 3.7% and 4.0% for 2022 and 2023 from 3.6% and 3.9% forecast in its October 2021 World Economic Outlook report. The IMF also reduced its forecast for global economic growth to 4.4% in 2023.
That while Omicron will weigh on activity in the first quarter of this year, this effect will fade starting in the second quarter. Other challenges and policy pivots are expected to have a greater impact on the outlook. We project global growth this year at 4.4%, which is 0.5 percentage point lower than previously forecast, mainly because of downgrades for the United States and China. Moreover, energy and food prices are expected to grow at more moderate rates in 2022. Assuming inflation expectations remain anchored, inflation is therefore expected to subside in 2023. While advanced economies are projected to return to pre-pandemic trend this year, several emerging markets and developing economies are projected to have sizable output losses into the medium term.
And now to Bonds Debt Management Office, DMO said it has listed its 2021 $4 billion federal government of Nigeria Euro bonds on the FMDQ Group Securities Exchange. The Euro bond was issued as part of the fundraising for the implementation of the 2021 Appropriations Act. The DMO revealed on its website that the bond was listed in 3 tranches of 7 years, $1.25 billion due in September and 2028 at 6.1%, 12 years $1.50 billion due in September 2033 at 7.3%. The third one is 30 years $1.25 billion due in September 2051 at 8.2%. The Eurobond, which was issued in September 2021, was oversubscribed due to the tune of $12.2 billion and was described as one of Africa's most successful financial trades of 2021. In a remarkable run, stocks on the Nigerian exchange sprung in reaction to fresh investor confidence as 2 Nigerian businessmen, Aliko Dangote and Abdul Samad Rabiu, appear formidable in Africa on Forbes list released this week. Dow share index went all the way up to 46,529.99 points in midweek trade as investors traded almost 329 million shares in 4,219 deals, value at 4.817 billion naira. Equity capitalization ended the session at 25.073 trillion naira. Multiverse Mutual Benefits and Guarantee Trust Holding Company topped the activity chart. That's business news. It's over to you now, Fatima.
Thank you so much for the package. Now let's head to Kano, where we say the palace of the Emir of Kano is one symbolic edifice that embodies beauty of traditional architecture and the boldness of cultural might. These have for long overshadowed some other cultural tidbits that thrive right inside the majestic palace. You are already wondering what such could be, right? Never you worry. Awal Salisu is set to quench your curiosity as he guides us into the palace to see what is cooking.
It's the Kano Emir's Palace, a heritage site established hundreds of years ago. It houses both the family of the Emir and offices for his routine engagements with his council members. This much is known about this prestigious palace. What perhaps remains unknown is this side attraction inside the palace. Traditional snacks making is a thriving culture at heart of this cultural seat of power. It is a tradition that has come a long way. Like many other unsung traditions of the house, it serves the refreshment requirements of not just the palace but outside, as demand for these snacks remain a routine affair. Alkaki and Dublan are the popular traditional Hausa snacks with an Arab origin associated with the royal house. 60-year-old Halima Muhammad said she has been in the business of making alkaki for more than 2 decades in the royal palace.
For those who are diabetic, they give us their own medically recommended sugar for use instead of the normal sugar. And when a customer prefers it with honey, we can also make use of it.
Alkaki is made from wheat flour mixed with yeast and water, then fried and soaked into boiled sugar or honey. But for Dublan, it needs flour mixed with egg, soaked into the boiled sugar after being fried, said Naja'atu Ahmad Yakubu.
It can take months without any change, but just a little during the rainy season, and the taste will remain as it is.
These royal snacks received patronage from within and outside Kano. The demand encourages these women to keep expanding their trade, which needs more capital. Originally, it was the exclusive preserve of concubines in the palace. However, it is now taken over by other women who earn a living from it. As they say, charity begins at home. The economic activity in the Emir's palace showcases the true enterprising nature of the Kano people. Halima Muhammad and Najatu Yakubu hope to have more capital and network for their products to reach out to more customers. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
Well, Awal, you've said it all in that report, but if I'm going to tell you about those snacks, I'm going to be here forever. I tell you, very, very nice, nutritious and healthy. Now, it is a standing culture in some ethnic groups that strenuous and tedious jobs belong to men because they are believed to be physically stronger than women. But this trend is fast changing as women are gradually proving to the world that they can excel in all fields. Remember the saying, what a man can do, please complete the statement, a woman can do it better. Question is, are women making breakthroughs in their quest to change the narrative? Well, Ian Region takes it up from here.
Crime fighting, especially in the police force, one may say should be carried out only by the men, because there is this stereotype that men are more lion-hearted than women. But it's been a journey of 27 years in the police force with great exploit. That's the story of Aisha Abubakar, an Assistant Inspector General of Police and currently the highest-ranking female police officer in the Nigerian police force. A big thumbs up, and she has broken the ceiling in the boardroom.
The way God has created a woman, God has made us multitasking. It's not easy to be a police officer, to be a mother, and to be a wife, and balance all the three together. It's not an easy job. People look at it as a man's job. But we thank God it's been really nice. We have had a lot of support. Once, you know, as a woman, once you know you have your goal and you know what you want to do or what you want to achieve in life, I don't think there's anything that anybody can say is just meant for a man.
Like Aisha Abubakar, many women are also in the mechanical and driving fields, and they are pushing to take the front. Probably to rewrite an age-long history, not forgetting keeping the home front in its best shape.
They used to challenge me because they see that it's like I'm challenging them, what they are doing. They can't see another woman doing it.
It's not just in the force. Anywhere a woman is, you have to do like triple the effort that a man puts to be able to achieve the same thing that a man has achieved.
I don't believe in any profession belonging to a man. For me, whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. Because even when I was in the banking industry, my bosses can attest to it that I was one of the best. Because when I get to job, I don't see myself as a woman. I see myself as a determined person. Somebody want to succeed. That is how I see myself.
It is also quite encouraging that some men are putting aside stereotype at this time and supporting their spouses to excel in their chosen careers.
For me, most of those women have actually distinguished themselves because it's not easy for them to actually choose that path. So I actually like what they are doing. I encourage them to keep it up.
It's not easy out there for a woman to just stand up on her own and want to do a work that is actually perceived for men. For a woman to do that, I see no reason why a man should sit and not support that woman. For me, I will support the woman 100%.
It is evident that women are breaking barriers and excelling in every field, whether perceived to be for men or not. And it is hoped that come 2023, more women will be better positioned to take both elective and appointive positions in the country. I'm Ian Region, NTA News.
Yes, so Ian Region, in our local parlance. But the growth and increasing utility value of Nigeria's digital space is having a corresponding impact on investment opportunity, with more groups, nations and international bodies embracing the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy for partnership. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson reports that the latest visitor to the ministry is the European Union ambassador to Nigeria, Samuela Isiopa.
It is their first meeting since Samuela Isope resumed in August 2021 as the new European Union ambassador to Nigeria. The mood is friendly, and for the most part, the conversation was fluid, delving around the prospects of the 5G platform in Nigeria, cybersecurity, digital skills, and data protection regulations. Apparently, these components are embedded in the partnership she seeks with the ministry.
We have this, let's say, pillar of programs that will be rolled out, implemented, but also we have this strategic level that we would like to develop with you.
The minister, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, who describes Nigeria as the fastest growing digital economy in Africa, said that the recently approved Nigeria's Startup Bill, soon to be submitted to the National Assembly, will completely change the country's entire digital ecosystem.
Today in Africa, Nigeria is #1 when it comes to attracting investors, seed funding, and many more. All the issues you have presented, I believe we are interested, and we will work together with EU to ensure that we have a win-win situation.
The exchange of documents and both hands on the national policy on 5G networks, which has just been launched by President Muhammadu Buhari, gives credence to a possible mutually beneficial future between the EU and Nigeria. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Thank you, Joseph. You can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube channel NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page, NTA Network News. Our Twitter handle is at NTA News Now, and Instagram, NTA Network, for updates. Another breather beckons. When we come back, correspondent takes us into the people's culture that revolves around the world of a particular animal and its peculiarity when it comes to show of strength. Join us again. Thanks for being there. Many believe that the National Youth Service Corps scheme remains one of the nation's most impactful integration programs. To this effect, the scheme has been documenting its milestones and immortalizing the feats achieved to keep the nation united in its museum. Some even say it should be a national monument. Olenka Ojo in the special report presents his case in a showcase.
2022.
The NYC Museum of Dynamic History kills two birds with one stone. It reminds the nation of the rigor in the journey to nationhood. A mandatory service year that sharpens the perception of the graduate youths as to the size of the task ahead and the patriotism required to succeed. Those youths, many of whom are in position of authority today, continue to look back at the service year with nostalgia. The nostalgia is clearly captured on canvas and sculpture here. Filled with artworks, paintings, fabrications, and innovations, their ingenuity in the invention of non-pharmaceutical materials in the war against COVID-19 have all been adequately preserved in this museum.
Individuals have been coming forward to donate artifacts and other materials produced during their service year to be kept in the museum.
The museum chronicles what led to the existence of the NYSC, what it was, what it is today, and where it hopes to be in future.
This project serves as a center for research and documentation, and in the long run, a source of income to the scheme.
There's a diaspora element to the inquisitiveness as well. Chisom Afioma is a foreign-trained graduate of pharmacy from the University of Debrecen in Hungary. she's at the NYSC to find out what is expected of her before she can be mobilized for national service.
Being a prospective corps member and foreign trained, I didn't quite understand the workings of the scheme and how it operates. But being in the museum, I've gained a little bit of clarity in that.
Stakeholders say the museum will serve as a veritable and valuable tool of reference for researchers on the contributions of the scheme to the national development of the more than 47 years old scheme. Olayinka Ojo, NTA News.
Interesting. Can you ever contemplate the idea of confronting head-on a raging bull to demonstrate your bravery or masculinity? That is exactly what butchers in Yauri town, Kebbi State do to celebrate periods that are special to them. Mohammed Abubakar has that.
Suspense and apprehension are the feelings one have in any arena where these daring young boys are seen perilously confronting raging bulls by their horns, amidst beating of drums and clappings to praise and ginger them up. It is an old tradition in Hausaland that is as old as the language itself and is still widely in practice, the advent of modernity notwithstanding. Yauri, a town that is famous for the annual boat regatta, is also a beautiful example of where Hawankaho is spectacularly being organized annually to mark some notable periods like the Muslim Salah festival or the presence of a very important personality in town, among other reasons. Ahmad Jibrin, the Sarkin Pawan Yauri and head of butchers, comment on the age-long tradition.
Tradition that we inherited from our parents and grandparents. It is staged to showcase to the world the rich culture abound in Hausaland. It is mainly to display bravery and masculinity among youths. You can only talk of danger in a situation where a person engaging in the act is a rookie, or a person who is not mentally and physically prepared to take the bull by its horns. Recur grave injuries or even fatalities results in such situations.
Bashar Dan Nigeria, a one-time bullfighter, shares with us his experience.
My story on bullfighting is scary. I once confronted a raging bull not fully prepared. I ended up having multiple fractures when it tossed me up in the sky and I hit the ground. I used to be so daring that I could climb any bull, no matter what.
Only time will tell whether Hawankaho will go the ways of so many cherished traditions that are history today owing to forces of modernity.
That's scary. Egypt beat Cote d'Ivoire on penalties to reach Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals, and Super Eagles fully focused on Ghana clash after exit from AFCON 2021. Let's now join Olushe Adebo for that.
The captain.
With AFCON shots, we conclude News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Before we go, remember to connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umar Buba. Good night.